so I am basically just going to outline my warm-up routine for a few of you, because this has been an important point that I've touched on in a few of our lessons so far, and I think that kind of adopting some or all of these practices is going to do wonders for your playing very quickly. So first things first, when I come in to practice, I set up properly. So that includes, everything from sorting my gear out, making sure it's organized, to just tuning up and everything, and, fiddling with my amp for a bit. And that might sound very obvious, but it's just like, don't just grab your guitar and start playing. Give some time to just getting every note, good. Make sure everything's on the mark, because you might end up, say my D string's just slightly out of tune or whatever, not enough for me to notice, then I might have a bit of a frustrating time, because I'm like, well, this sounds terrible, so just give it a little time, to the neck a little time to settle, and then sort yourself out with a tone that you like, plug in, turn your amp on, and then give just a bit of consideration to what we're going to do today. Do I want a distortion tone? I mean, I would warm up with a clean tone for one, but really it's just set yourself up with a tone that sounds good, because otherwise you might be the best player in the world. Everything you play is going to sound, off. So then next, after I've set myself up with a good tone, for warming up, I'd say just a nice clean tone. It's not going to be anything fancy. And then like a warm, clean tone. And then I usually do like bridge pickup. So that's the top one. So then I would begin with my spider. So I'd do the spider exercise, and that's good for warming up because it will synchronize your fingers and picking hand. So ascending, we do down, up, down, up, down, up, and then we turn it round. So descending, we go up, down, and start slow. So give your hands time to wake up, especially if you've just got out of bed or something. You're not gonna be feeling it right away. I might spend half an hour to an hour warming up. I'll just sit in, my room or wherever, and I'll have a coffee and listen to a podcast, all while my hands are just going through the rudiments, like that. And then after a while, then you'll get the speed up after you've got all the blood flowing and your muscles are waking up and your brain's all there. Your frustrating days will come from poor practice, I think. Just jumping into your room, grabbing your guitar, not tuning it, not thinking about any of that, not warming it properly, and then you won't be able to do what you want to do, and it's going to be incredibly frustrating. Like, since I've kind of started practicing seriously and warming up seriously, and devoting a good chunk of time to just that part as a daily routine, my playing has gotten just orders better, and yours will too. So yeah, we start with the spider exercise, and then the other thing I would do is I would hammer on. So I'd actually been neglecting my left hand technique until recently. So my right hand is going to stay off, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to practice these same spider shapes with hammer-ons ascending, and then I'll descend with pull-offs. And what this will do is really this will sharpen up your left-hand technique a lot. And people neglect the fretting hand, I find, because it's just, you're not really thinking about it. You're thinking, oh, well, right hand is what makes the notes go because I'm picking them. But if you can rely on it to fret notes legato style, like so. I'm still working on it a little because it's not quite where it needs to be, but then your fingers individually and your hand will just be a bit more attuned to playing. So about 10-20 minutes of that in your warm-up routine is really going to pay off sooner or later. It's going to take a few months to get it up to speed, I imagine, for most of you, but that's how I've been doing it, and it's, yeah, as I said, it has paid off a lot. And then I would go to single string exercises. So once I'm finished doing my hammer-ons, getting all the fingers in sync, ascending and descending, do this without an amp also. I forgot to mention that part, but if you want to be able to hear, because if your hand's weak, if your fingers are weak and not quite trained to where they should be, then you're going to be missing out on a lot. So make sure you can attack the string and hear it without an amp. You want to be able to hear those notes. Anyway, yeah, we'd finish on the hammer-ons. We would do on a single string. So we're going to do a hammer-on and a legato exercise. Now, the hammer-on version is basically a 4-finger thing. So we go 1 to 2. Basically just practice my hammer-ons and pull-offs. And then I do all of my fingers. So I do this a minute a piece. Time yourself on your phone if you want, or whatever. And do this until you get an ache down your arm. Be careful about overdoing this. Don't do it too much. If you get pain, then stop. Put your guitar down for a while. But you need a kind of ache. It's the no pain, no gain thing. This is like press-ups for your fingers. So 1 to 2 for 1 minute, or more if you're already trained and you want to get your fingers stronger. Maybe 2 to 3 minutes if you can. And then 1 to 3. And then finally 1 to 4. So a minute a piece, remember? And then this is the one you'll probably struggle with the most, because the pinky is the weakest finger. It needs a lot more time to catch up. And then when you're done with that, 2 fingers down, and then we'll do 2 to 3. So about a minute of that. And when that's done, finally we'll go 3 fingers down to 4. And this is probably the one that will pay off the most, because it will really train that muscle, and your pinky will be working in no time, just like the other fingers. And then now I'm really starting to get that aching. So I'm going to stop, and then you just let your arm hang down for a minute or 2 after that, and then just, because you really don't want to overdo it. You'll get a strain injury or something. Do not chance this. Look after yourself. And then finally, what I do is a legato exercise. So it's a pretty similar thing. It's like a 4-fingered hammer-on pull-off sequence. So 5 to 8, and fingers 1 to 4. And this basically just tests your efficiency for your hammer-on and pull-off. This is also very good for just working out your hand and getting the blood flowing. Don't go for this kind of speed right away, because I've already kind of warmed up. So it's like start all of these very slow. This one there. So then, and just get each note nice and even in volume. And again, this is devoting some time to left-hand technique, which is very important. So what I'm working on right now is going between strings. On one string, it comes through pretty clear, but hammering on and pulling off, especially from the pinky, which is going to be my weaker finger, the attack just isn't quite there. So mixing it up a bit and getting every fret even. So after you've got one string down, like I have, then you can start to progress onto the strings below. And then just strike the strings individually and work on that, getting that individual finger strength up to par. And once you've trained one finger, you can throw in another. Like that. You basically just go all the way down and train each finger until you're pulling it off, no pun intended. So that's the three things I tend to do when I warm up. So then once you're done with that, start with, you might even want to just start practicing your exercises after that. But then after half an hour plus of that, your blood will be flowing, your brain will be switched on, and you'll be settled and ready to go. So, and that is when the progress really happens, when you've allowed yourself to just sink into your practice routine instead of trying to kind of jump into it like a lot of people do. And with all the kind of frustration and, emotional baggage that comes with a bad warm-up routine, a bad practice routine. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you all soon.